Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out. You've experienced life, love, lost, have no fear. Just keep pushing, be strong. Keep the faith until change comes. Strength is not how much you can ever overcome and what you couldn't do alone. I'm determined to. Yeah, I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm gone. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out. You've experienced life, love, lost, have no fear. Just keep pushing, be strong. Keep the faith until change comes. Strength is not how much you can ever overcome and what you couldn't do alone. I'm determined to. Yeah, I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm gone. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah.
I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm gone. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. Hey, what's up, you all, and welcome back to the ABCs of Experiencing Life, Love, and Loss on First Mondays with Tisha Milton. Your girl is back in the house on First Monday. Listen, we are in the month of July. The year is going by so fast, and we're so excited to just be alive, to be well, to be in our right minds, to have the activities of our limbs, to just be able to lift our hands and say thank you for another day. I am so grateful, and I'm also grateful for you. So I want to say thank you so much for being so supportive every first Monday. I look forward to hanging out with y'all on First Monday nights. Listen, everybody should be on. You don't have to go to work tomorrow. You can hang out late tonight. So we're going to have a wonderful show. Cannot wait to get into it. But before I do, what I need for you to do is like this live, and I hear you. I need you to follow Experiencing Life, Love, and Loss on my page. And then you can go to facebook.com, Tisha1913. I need you all to like it and share it. Like it and share it. Like it and share it. Can y'all say like and share? Like and share. All right. I want to give some shout outs right now to the people that is on. Let me see who's hanging out with me on tonight. First of all, I want to say, go ahead, type your name in. Pamela, what's up, Sarah? Thank you for hanging out with me. Miss Welker, Beth Carpenter Welker, you are a new subscriber here, so yay! I love to see new people. Tanya Wilson, what's up? That's my coworker. What's going on, y'all? And Deborah Bell. Hey, girl. So glad to have you. That's my guest sister. Miss Christy. Listen, I appreciate you because you hang out with me every month. So I want to say thank you to all of those that put their names down. Thank you so much for your continued support. Listen, I could not do it without you. So I want to say thank you. Did y'all know I have a YouTube channel? You can also subscribe to Tisha Milton's YouTube channel. So you can go out to YouTube. You can always play the videos over and over and over. Go to Tisha Milton 8402 and you'll be able to subscribe to the channel. Therefore, you won't have to miss nada. You won't miss a thing if you go out to YouTube and subscribe. So I want to say thank you in advance for doing that. Now on to our show. Listen, we have a great show today. And before I go into my topic on today, I want to take the time and introduce my guest on today. All right. When I tell you we have been friends for over 30 years, oh my gosh, sometimes I don't even feel like I'm over 30 years old. So to have a friendship, a sisterhood for over 30 years is just mind-boggling to me. But I am so grateful for who she is in my life. We met in college and we have never stopped being friends since then. We were hanging out then on the fence. We were lukewarm now. Now we hot for the Lord. And I just want to thank God for her. Get excited and welcome my guest, Jamara Terra Potier. Potier. You know what? I have to think, when I think of your last name, I have to think of Sydney. Sydney Potier, yeah. That's your cousin.
Hey, girl.
Is Sydney Potier your cousin?
Sydney Poitier is my husband's cousin, so that makes him my cousin.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Hey, how is Thumbs doing?
He is doing amazing. I know people, that's an inside joke, y'all. That is an inside joke, but he is doing amazing. Hopefully he's watching. He's at work right now. If he could have been here sitting next to me, trust me, he would have, but he's at work right now. He's on the ground. He's on the plant, like we like to call the plantation. So he, he picking cotton. So, but I will tell him that you asked about him, but he is doing well and we are blessed. So thank you for asking.
Yes. So let them in on the inside joke with Thumbs. So when they first started dating, she was going out to eat all the time. And we're like, I know you're not going out to eat by yourself, but sometimes she would take a picture of her plate and we'll see some thumbs just in a plate. So another friend of ours like, girl, who does those thumbs belong to? We don't see nobody else. You can't let everybody know your business, right? So she was keeping it on the low, but the thumbs was in every time. So we like,
girl, you crazy. And he's been thumbs ever since.
I know. Right. So when I finally met her, I was like, what's up, thumbs? But it is great to know that you all have just recently gotten married. So congratulations, congratulations. Wedding was off the chain. Oh my
God is awesome. And I gotta say, let me tell you something. You don't know how much it meant for me, for you guys to travel all the way from Texas to come share, spend that day with me. That said a lot, and I appreciate y'all so much. Edith is not on here, but the fact that you all, took time out of your life, not just your schedule, out of your life, and traveled. I mean, you paid for plane tickets, you paid for hotels, and you paid, for to find something to wear. Like, I appreciate that, and you guys came and shared that special day with me. And we had an opportunity to redo a picture that we had taken in college on campus, which was amazing. So I just appreciate you. I appreciate our friendship. We've been down like four flat tires for a minute, man. I'm telling you, we were talking about that today. Oh, thank God for Jesus.
I know, right? Listen, we were talking about, we used to be roommates. We had an apartment. And we had so much faith, we didn't have to pay rent. We lived rent-free in college. Like, we found out later we had to pay for it later, but we didn't pay for it then.
Yes.
We're going to pay one way or another. So,
ain't nothing free. And we're going to talk about that. Ain't nothing free. You going to pay. You either going to pay then, now, or you going to pay later, but you going to pay.
That's right.
Nothing's free.
That's right. So, before I move on, I just want to push. I want to take every opportunity to push HBCUs. That's how we connect
Yes.
at HBCU. There is so much power. There is so much collectiveness. There's so much family in HBCU. When kids get there, we come there as a kid trying to figure out life.
Absolutely.
But while trying to figure it out, we're getting an education. There's an impartation of awareness of who we are in an HBCU. And if your children, grandchildren have an opportunity to do so, I say go for it. Because listen, it's not just an average school, man. There are doctors, lawyers, there are great people. Great.
Yes.
Great. Greatness comes out of HBCUs.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
So our topic today, oh my goodness, our topic is overlooked. Right. Before we get into the topic, let us know like where you stand in regards to the many hats that you're wearing. I want to know, when Jamar, Tara, Portier show up, what can we expect to see? What can we expect to hear?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question, but the first thing you can expect to hear, and
you good.
I'm good. Oh,
you good.
The one thing you can expect to hear and see from me is authenticity.
Okay.
Right. I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to be authentic all of the time, but I'm going to show up as, doing the work of a servant. So, I currently serve as the director of community outreach for my 9 to 5. I am the anti-human trafficking coordinator for my 9 to 5. But aside from that, I am a best-selling published author of a Amazon #1 best-selling book on Amazon called Sister to Sister Book Anthology. I am the current president, sitting president for the Broward Human Trafficking Coalition, which I have been for multiple years. And I am also the founder and CEO of my own 501c3 organization, which is called She, Me, Her. I am a very, very happily married wife. I am a proud mother of one child. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a niece. I'm a friend. I'm a servant. I'm a human just out here navigating this world, trying to be the change that I want to see, because and you and I were talking about this today about, how, there is a lack of, the remnant in the world. It's like, who's going to pick it up and who's going to take it over? People wake up every day thinking of new ways to be cruel to each other, to be mean to each other. That's why it's so important for, for us that are out here, serving. Even you, Tisha, you're serving in a capacity that, it is beyond amazing, because, you've taken your testimony to the masses, and you just don't understand. People are depending on us not to give up. So we cannot.
Right.
We can't give up. And a part of serving is hanging in there. You know what I'm saying? Not giving up, understanding, why, figuring it out after a while, because you don't know in the beginning, why is this happening to me? You know what I'm saying? And so staying in the paint, figuring that out so that you can serve through your pain.
Right. So you spoke of being this president of human trafficking for the coalition for your whole county. First of all, everybody might have not been in her county, but I'm sure you have heard of her county. Broward County is known all over the world.
Well, a lot of things.
But like your role, what comes with that when you say, "Oh, I'm the president"? Not only am I'm out here in the streets, I am the president of this human trafficking thing. What does that mean? What entails in that role?
So when we're talking about the Broward Human Trafficking Coalition, you're talking about the largest 501c3 organization in the county of Broward, fighting to eradicate human trafficking by way of education and awareness. Now, we are not a direct care service organization, meaning that we are not providing clinical work, we are not providing case management services, we're not providing therapeutic work. What we're doing is we're providing services by way of awareness and education, facilitating training, presentation, trying to equip our community, our young people, our young adults, our parents, our elderly people, our faith-based organizations, our community-based organizations, trying to equip them with the tools to keep not just their families safe and keep them safe, but keep the community safe, the community around them safe. And so that encompasses me. I'm responsible for, I have an executive board. So I'm in charge of the executive board. And what I do is I govern the coalition by way of making sure that we have outreach events, that, you know, we have, we're facilitating trainings, we're facilitating educational awareness outreach. I have, every year I throw in the month of January, because January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. So every year in January, I throw two massive events in the county of Broward, one being a youth summit and one being a human trafficking awareness summit. And so being the president requires me to build relationships, requires me to understand what it means to collaborate, requires me to understand what it means to coordinate, and requires me to show up as the leader of this large organization for this entire county. So and that's unpaid work. That's unpaid work. That has nothing to do with what I get paid to do every day. But you know, somebody got to do it. You know, somebody has to do it. Specifically for our Black and Brown community, because, you know, I've learned over the years, in my years of service and in my years of doing this work, I've been doing this work almost 25 years. And somebody has to look out for our Black and Brown people, because if we don't look out for each other, if we don't sound the alarm, you know, we cannot expect a system that was built on racism to look out for us and to keep us safe, because a system that was never created for us is not going to look out for us.
Right. Right. So I have, I've seen these signs, these billboards that says like, have you seen me? Human trafficking is not just a buzzword, you know, that's thrown out there. I've also heard of like sex trafficking. The difference, tell us the difference between human trafficking and sex trafficking, if there is a difference. And if so, tell us why they're interchanging those words with human and sex trafficking.
So that's a really good question. So when you're talking about human trafficking, you're talking about the umbrella. So human trafficking is what is, you know, is the component of everything. It encompasses everything. So under human trafficking, you have sex trafficking, you have labor trafficking, you have commercial sexual exploitation, you have indentured servitude, you have debt bondage, you have organ trafficking. So human trafficking is the umbrella, and under human trafficking falls all of the other components of what trafficking is. Now, human trafficking is a crime against a person. It's a human rights violation. It's a violation against human rights. But there's so many different things that are encompassed when you're talking about human trafficking, because it's not just one thing. It doesn't look like people think it looks. It's not just a sign to a specific group of people or a specific socioeconomic group of people, or people that are from a certain place or look a certain way. This is one thing that does not discriminate, which is something that people find out the hard way. When it touches their family, when it rings their doorbell, they find out that it does not discriminate, that it can happen to them as well. So when you're talking about human trafficking, you're talking about multiple things that fall under that. Now, sex trafficking and labor trafficking is different. It's not the same thing. Does it overlap? Of course, sometimes it does. But sex trafficking is one thing and labor trafficking is another thing. Organ trafficking is something different. Then you have indentured servitude. Then you got debt bondage. So it's a, you know, it's a lot that comes with it. That's why it's so important to know and understand what human trafficking is, but most
Right.
importantly, to understand and know what it's not. Because if you don't know what it's not, you'll see it everywhere.
Right. Right. What made me even bring this topic up is basically the awareness, the way that we understand, you know, human traffic because of what we heard and not necessarily what we have been taught. Because, you know, I'm in a school system. We really do not talk about it. We don't talk about how to prevent it. It doesn't really come up until something big happens. And the reason why I chose overlook, because I feel like we're overlooking as a society, we're overlooking this importance of how we really need to pay attention to our surroundings, like what's going on around us. And I got that from that billboard saying, "Have you seen me?" Which told me like these people are being trafficked in front of our eyes, and we don't even know what's going on because we're not aware. So I wanted to bring awareness to our audience. And audience, I want you to know, even though it's an informative type show, you can be free to make your comments, type in your comments. You can ask your questions. Like if it's something that you wanted to know, you're welcome to type in those comments, and you know I'll get Jamara, Tara's a pen name. We'll get Tara to answer those questions as best as possible, because not only do I want us to be aware, I want us to get in a position where we want to do something about it. Right. Okay, so
right.
So you were saying like what it is not, right?
Right.
Statistically, because in my mind I thought, you know, basically they want females. When it comes to like young females, they want a certain size. Are those biases really what they're looking for in regards, based on your research and the statistics? Is that what it really is?
Well, no, that's not what it really is. And that's a huge myth and misconception that we are constantly dealing with on a daily basis. So there is absolutely no profile for a trafficker, someone that is going to be exploiting that person, and there's no profile for a trafficking victim. The one thing that all trafficking victims have in common is that they all had a vulnerability, regardless of what that vulnerability was, because perpetrators exploit vulnerabilities for profit, for gain, for their own self-serving reasons. So that is the one common denominator that sex trafficking victims and labor trafficking victims have. They have a vulnerability. They have a need, a basic need that must be met or needs to be met. Now, when you're talking about sex trafficking, you have to understand, I know that people like to assign this to a specific gender, which is a huge mistake, because when you assign it to a specific gender and you create your own definition of it and you interpret it to look a way that you think it should look, people go overlooked.
Right.
People go overlooked. So understand that, yes, women are sex trafficked, but men are also sex trafficked. Girls are sex trafficked, boys are also sex trafficked. And another thing is that people think that sex trafficking leads the human trafficking arena, but it is not. It is labor trafficking that drives human trafficking. You know, human trafficking generates over $150 billion a year worldwide. It is the second largest growing criminal industry in the world, just under the drug trade. It has surpassed arms trafficking. Wow. And that's because there's a demand. There's a demand for the buying and the selling and the exploitation of human beings, right? This is not new. Human trafficking is not new. It's been around since 1619, since the first boat of Africans touched Jamestown, Virginia. It's not new.
Right.
It's what's new is the name. That is it. That's all that's new. So when we're talking about what human trafficking is and what it isn't, it's about profit. So to be clear as far as the definition, and when you're talking about criminality and how to define it and how to verify it, there always has to be, in order for it to be classified as human trafficking, whether it's labor or sex trafficking, there always has to be an exchange of something of value for it, in exchange for sexual activity or labor. Now, when you're talking about sex trafficking and labor trafficking, you have to be very careful, because even though the state and federal government both prosecute human trafficking, it can be prosecuted under both state laws and both federal laws. The one thing that is really important about human trafficking that we need to understand is that the statutes state that if a person is under the age of 18, there are three elements: force, fraud, or coercion. Force, fraud, or coercion are elements that are needed in order to classify human trafficking. Now, what's very important about that is that if that person is under the age of 18 and being exploited for the purposes of commercial sex, you really don't need force, fraud, or coercion, right? Because if they're under 18, what does that mean?
They're minors.
They're a child. Exactly. And they're being exploited for the purpose of commercial sex. Now, when you get into labor trafficking, that is a little tricky. And this is where people get confused. Because of the labor laws that exist as it relates to both adults and children, it gets very tricky when you're talking about minors working and minors being exploited for the purposes of labor, right? So like I said, this is why it's so important to understand what trafficking is and what trafficking isn't. However, ain't nobody asking y'all to be investigators, detectives or anything. If you think it is what it is, just call it in, just report it, and let the people that do the work decide whether or not it's trafficking or not. But what I will ask you to do is stop getting on social media, on these social media platforms, talking about sex trafficking, calling everything sex trafficking, and it's not sex trafficking. Know what it is before you start putting mixed messages out there, because what you do is you take away from the, you literally take away from the legitimacy of the work. And what you do is you instill a level of fear in people that is not genuine. And that is how certain things and certain people and go overlooked, because they're not looking for the appropriate thing. So I hope I answered your question.
You did. I'm really concerned in how, when you say don't put stuff on social media that is not sex trafficking, what type of things are people insinuating that is sex trafficking that's really not?
So I get so annoyed when I see these people go on and create these videos. Y'all, I was at Walmart, I was at Target, and this person just tried to sex traffic me. What are you talking about? How? Okay. Y'all be careful, because it's sex traffickers out here and they trying. What are you talking about? What did they do? What did they do? What did they do? So that's why it's like, I just really need people. And like you said, it upsets me a lot that it's such a buzzword.
Right.
It's such a buzzword. You know what I'm saying? And so now what happens is that people stop focusing on the real signs and the real things that's going on. And then they start looking at all this other stuff, all of this propaganda that is being perpetuated on social media. I mean, there's a way to go on social media if you feel like, because first of all, taken is not the typical sex trafficking scenario, right? It is not the typical sex trafficking scenario. 9 times out of 10, more times than not, those that are being exploited via sex, they know who their trafficker is. They're familiar with this person
Mhm.
because one of the key methods of grooming is for a trafficker to build trust,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Okay.
So while some people are kidnapped and trafficked, but that is not the overall typical scenario of a sex trafficking victim. It's just it just isn't. It just isn't. You have traffickers that will sniff out or identify a vulnerability. They will meet that need. And in order for them to meet that need, they have to establish some level of trust,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Right.
And then they begin to exploit that need. And so,
Hmm.
again, I'm not saying that there are young men and young women out here that are not being snatched up, because there
Right.
are. There
Right.
are.
Mhm.
But that is not the greater percentage of the situation when it comes to sex trafficking. It is
Right.
not. And when you're
Okay.
talking about labor trafficking, you're talking about a lot of migrant workers, a lot of
Right.
undocumented people. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
being exploited because of a huge financial need, and levels of poverty. You know what I'm saying? And but some girls are trafficked, and you do have a sometimes sex trafficking and labor trafficking can marry each other, because when you have young ladies being trafficked out of strip clubs, you know what I'm saying? And so they're actually working, they're
Okay.
dancing, they're dancing and turning over their profit, and then they have to go to the champagne room and do extra stuff, and then they're turning over that profit. So it's a lot. There's a lot involved with that.
The champagne room. That's what it's called. Oh, okay.
Some of them: champagne room, VIP room,
Okay.
keynote
Okay.
room.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So
yeah.
one of our viewers has said sex trafficking. This is Janine Wright. Sex trafficking is one of the biggest money producers in Dallas County now. Drug dealers have given up drugs to traffic women and children because of the fact that people don't recognize it or report it. And the risks are not as high as selling drugs. Oh my gosh. Because they don't know what to look for.
That's
And I think
absolutely a fact.
awareness, yeah. Because we don't know what we're looking for.
No,
And see,
it's not. There's nothing to look for.
okay.
Yeah, because when you're talking about drug traffickers and gangs, so like drug traffickers and gangs, of course, have shifted toward, because it's a profitable business. But how many
Right.
times can you sell a brick of cocaine once you cut it and bag it?
Oh,
One time. It's once it's gone, right? But
right.
how many times can you sell a 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old human over and over and
Right.
over again? So if you
Right.
have, say you got 5 girls in your stable, you working those girls 6, 7 days a week. Their quota is $2,000 to $2,500 a night. That's a lot of money.
Right.
So why I need to sell dope for? I'm gonna say they'll start selling dope on the side and
Right.
trafficking full time, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's all about profit. It's all about profit and exploitation. That is what drives the sex trafficking and the human trafficking industry, because people are exploited for their labor.
Right.
It's about profit.
Okay. So how can we, are there particular ways that we can avoid this when it comes to being a victim of it? What is there some things we can look out for that can protect ourselves, or that we can teach our younger people on how to protect themselves but from becoming a victim? What can we do?
So first of all, the key factor is, because you keep hearing me say the word vulnerability.
Yeah.
So when folks' needs are being met, they're less susceptible to become victimized and become preyed on, right?
Okay.
So the top 5 things every human being is born into this world expecting the person that they're born to provide for them is food, clothing, shelter, safety, and love. Top 5 basic needs. I was born into this world expecting the person that I was born to provide me with food, clothing, shelter, safety, and love. right?
Right.
So say I live in a house and I have food, clothing, and shelter, but there's no love and I don't feel safe there. Am I vulnerable?
You're very vulnerable.
Right? So when people start asking, well, Jamara, what can we do? What can we do? Well, first of all, we can start by meeting those needs. Meeting those needs, because when your needs are not being met, you become vulnerable. So if, for instance, I'm going to give you an example.
Okay.
You have a young lady that lives in a home, mom is working, dad is working, because this is not just happening to Black kids,
Right.
brown kids, poor kids, from single parent homes.
Mhm.
When you have a child that is living in the house with their mother and their daddy, both parents work, child has food, clothing, and shelter, right? But the house is so dysfunctional. There's domestic violence in the house. There's no love, and there's no love in the house. So what happens is, when people do not have a proper and appropriate definition of what love and safety looks like,
Right.
and when somebody gives them a manipulated definition of what love and safety looks like, and they have absolutely nothing to compare it to, they take what they have been given as fact and as truth. Now, if you don't know how it's supposed to feel or what it looks like, when you get the feeling and you get the definition, you believe that that's why it's supposed to feel and that's what it looks like. Especially if you come from a home where you've seen disrespect, you've seen abuse, you've seen yelling, and you've seen fighting, and you have somebody that's going to talk nice to you for at least 3 months. And they're going to and they're giving you that definition of love and safety, right?
Right.
What's going to happen then? What happens when people do things for us? What do we feel? We feel grateful, right? One, we feel grateful. Two, we like when people make us feel good about ourselves. So we do
That's
whatever
right.
we need to do to sustain that feeling, right?
Mhm.
So whatever we
Right.
need to do to sustain that feeling, right? We're going to do it regardless of the fact that, you know what? Sometimes this person is not very nice to me, but sometimes this person is very nice to me. And if I could just follow the rules, be better, not make them mad, keep them happy, then the nice person is always going to show up. Also, we need to understand that social media is raising our children. Like, we want our children to be mature when it's convenient for us, right? We want them to be children for a certain period of time, but then when it's convenient for us, we want them to be mature enough to take care of themselves, right? So you have a lot of young women, a lot of boys and girls that I've worked with have been recruited off of social media. There's this gaming app called Discord. This is how a lot of young boys are recruited, on Discord, because who are the gamers? The boys are the gamers, right? They're on these on this app playing these games. So the app Discord is not just for gaming. Anybody can go into Discord and have a conversation and pretend to be whoever. And a lot of times you have men will go into Discord and pretend to be women, right?
Yeah.
And develop friendships with these boys, right? And then they get these boys to send over explicit images and things like that. And so then we have an encompass with not the sex trafficking. So the catalyst of the sex trafficking becomes the grooming process, becomes the sextortion, where you have this person thinking that they're sending their friend or their girlfriend or boyfriend, this person they've developed this relationship online, some images of them, and then the tables are flipped, right? And now I got these pictures. And if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm going to post these pictures online. I'm going to upload these to your parents' job. I'm going to distribute them to your neighborhood, because you already done told me where you live, because the children get on the internet and tell all their business, right? Tell all their business, right? So the vulnerabilities are, we have to give our children tools to keep themselves safe. I tell these young kids all the time that I work with, you are responsible for your safety. You are responsible for your safety. Safe adults ask do not ask children, teenagers to keep secrets from their parents. Safe
Right.
adults don't do that.
Right.
Safe adults don't do that. So you have to have conversations with your children about safety. Also, it's not even about children. When you have young adults who are in college and you have these traffickers that go to college campuses and go to the student union, hanging out in the student union because they want to sniff out who's struggling to stay in school, right? Whose financial aid ain't coming through, right? Who's going to school and trying to take care of the house. So they hanging out in the student union, just meeting people, right? Sniffing out that vulnerability.
Girl, you giving me too much. This is so, it's such a big picture, right? It's not small at all. It's very broad in how we don't even know we're overlooking some things by giving our children those phones and those tablets and those computers so they can play games. We don't even know the things that's connected to it. Everything has a chat room. Everything that we get on Facebook, everybody has a chat. Every gaming has a chat. Everything is just something. So this tells me we need to do more praying and covering, and not just praying and getting on our knees and then expecting God to do everything. But there are some things that we need to do ourselves to make our community, our children, safe. That means we need to get involved in it and stop overlooking so much.
Right. You know, and we really need to start paying attention to, there's a fine line between peer and parent. And I don't know why some parents got a problem with this line. I don't understand why parents have a problem with the line of peer and parent. Like they want to be the peer so bad. And I never got that because my friends are my age. My child is not my friend. You know what I'm saying? Especially one that I'm raising, right? And so when you're talking about, because somebody said, what do we need to look for and what we need to listen out for? You have parents that will allow their 15, 16, and 17-year-old children to be friends with 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old people. Why are you allowing? You know why? You know why you're allowing this? Because they helping you raise your child. So because you so busy doing other stuff, you thinking, okay, this is a good person for my child to be with, not understanding that why is a 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old child, grown person, friends with a 15, 16, 17-year-old?
Right. They have
Why?
nothing in common.
Why? They have nothing in common.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely nothing in common. Y'all have these people over to y'all homes. Y'all these, and don't nobody know nobody names. Everybody know nickname. Boo boo, ya, nay, ding ding, dong dong. You don't know your child's friends' first name, last names, mamas, daddies, where they live, what they do for a living. You have these children over to your home all day. And nobody has called that child to check on that child to find out where that child is and what they're doing. And you let these children sit up in your house all for hours and hours and hours and hours on end.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? What type of influence do you think is going to happen? How do you know? Do you know that pimps send the kids out to recruit other kids?
Yeah.
They have recruiters, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to pay attention. You can't depend on other people to keep your child busy for you because you busy doing other stuff, because they don't mind keeping them busy.
Right.
They'll find something for them to do, right? And then you call us because now you find first of all, your child go missing, right? And then you come see me and you want us to launch this investigation, but you can't give me no names of no friends. You can't tell me where they live. You can't give me no parents' names. You can't give me any information All you know is your child started hanging out with this person, and they met them in school, right? They met them in school, and they come to find out when the school get involved, this person ain't been to school in about 2-3 months.
Right.
But they hanging out to the school, befriending your child. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So it's the conversations about safety.
Right.
It's the conversations about safety, right? It's the conversations about letting your children know who they are and what they mean to you. You know, I had a pimp tell me one time, because I asked, like, what is it that you're doing? Like, what is one of the methods? Like, what are you doing? And so this dude said that he could see a young lady or a group of young ladies in a mall, and he will approach them.
Okay.
And he will compliment them or her. Nothing major. Oh, you have beautiful eyes. That's a nice outfit. Oh, your hair really looks good. Whatever. Now, this is where it gets real and basic. It's so basic. It's scary. Once he gives a compliment, and what he does is, for those that meet him back eye to eye, and smiles and receives the compliment, he don't want to talk to them no more. The one that avoids eye contact, shies away, is very uncomfortable with being seen, is not comfortable with receiving a compliment, that's the one he wants to continue to talk to. Why? She's not used to being validated, not used to being seen, not used to anybody noticing her, not used to anybody saying anything nice to her or noticing anything about her. So when that person does that and she gets that, she doesn't have a definition of what, she don't know what that is, but all she knows is how it makes her feel.
Right.
And that makes her feel good. It makes her feel uncomfortable, but it makes her feel good that somebody notices her, right? Right? So now he knows all he needs to do. He got 3 to 4 months to groom. All I got to do is make her feel like nobody's ever made her feel before.
Right.
And she's going to be so grateful for that feeling that she's never going to want to lose it. And I can get her to do whatever I need her to do so she can use that feeling.
Right. So what I'm getting out of that, first of all, as parents, grandparents, even community members, our job is really to validate. First of all, take care of those 5 needs. Okay. And in showing and validate our children and letting them know that they are beautiful, they are wanted, they are appreciated, not only by just words, but showing some action to it. So when they get out here in this particular world, they won't be vulnerable. They won't jump at the first person that tells them something that they're not used to hearing. One of our Tony says, Antoinette, not Tony. Hey, Tony. Antoinette says, have conversations about safety. Children should know who they are and what they mean to you. Absolutely.
Correct. And every child should have a triangle of safety. And a safe adult is not always a parent. A safe adult is not always a parent.
Okay.
Because you have a lot of parents that are predator protectors. Because parents traffic their children too. Parents traffic their children too. So parents are not always a safe space, right? So I tell young people all the time, you have a triangle of safety. There's 3 people you should be able to go to in your life. 3 people, and it does not always have to be your parent, right? Because I understand that parents are not always the safe person. That you should be able to go to when you are afraid and when you feel uncomfortable about anything that has to do with your boundaries and your body.
Okay.
Right? Because as I stated, a lot of these parents and family members are the predator protectors, right? You are the catalyst. You are the catalyst behind that child developing that vulnerability. 70 to 90% of children that end up in the sex trafficking industry have a history of childhood sexual abuse. So what do you want the children to do when the boogeyman is not hiding behind the bushes? What do you want the children to do when the boogeyman is not under the bed or in the closet, but the boogeyman is sitting at the dining room table? When the boogeyman is at the family reunion, when y'all ordering him shirts, when you keep inviting the boogeyman over, what do you want the children to do?
That part right there. But what I'm grateful for, Jamar, really, in the society we live in now, we're not our parents and grandparents who used to sweep that stuff under the rug. It's like we're not doing that. And I think more of us need to stand flat-footed and speak on behalf of what's going on and what's real. Those predator protectors, like, why is it so important to protect the predator than it is to protect the victim who can't control anything, who's vulnerable, who's supposed to be protected? What is wrong with us? Why are we overlooking it and thinking everything is okay? Which is why we have so much depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts, because people are really struggling within on how to deal with these emotions, because they don't have they don't have the three people. So they don't know which way to go. So our job as those people who are concerned in the community, as believers, if you just love, stop overlooking what seems to be the obvious or whatever. Go past that and then be the person that wants to do something about it. So I want to know, Jamar, so let's say I see it, right? What are my steps? I assume, oh, okay, this looked like something Jamar was talking about, or I don't know, but it don't seem right to me. What are my steps? Who do I call? What do I do?
So there are multiple ways that you can report. Now, because human trafficking is a worldwide issue, and when we're talking about how to report it, it depends on where you are, what state you live in. So the top 3 states in the nation for human trafficking cases are California, Texas, and Florida. Those are the top three states with the highest numbers, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a federal national human trafficking hotline, which is 1-888-373-7888. That is the national human trafficking hotline where you were called to report. Now, each state has their own hotline where you can report human trafficking. I would advise each of you to find out what that number is. Learn the number of your state on how to report human trafficking. Mm-hmm. I urge everybody on here, and I urge you to share this information. Don't just report it to the federal hotline. You need to report it to your state hotline, because that is how you track the cases. That is how you can apply. These states can apply for funding to get the services that these trafficking victims need, because these cases are hard, man. It's difficult, especially when you have victims and survivors that are children. You know, human trafficking cases to be prosecuted in state court take a minute. Federal court, not too long, because you're not fighting with issues of depositions and things like that. But those who have experienced, because it's complex trauma they've experienced, multiple forms of trauma over and over and over again. I have young ladies, man, I've been working with for years, and they're still in therapy because they're still triggered by certain things. They're managing their triggers. They're getting the tools that they need in order to navigate their life through their trauma, which is an amazing thing. Mm-hmm. But they're going to continue to need these ongoing services, right? So when you have to report it so that your state can understand that there is a need for the funding for the services. So find out what the number is to report in your state. But the National Human Trafficking Hotline to report human trafficking is 1-888-373-7888. That is the National Human Trafficking Hotline, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is operated by Polaris, the Polaris Project.
All right, go ahead, Antoinette, right there. She says National Human Trafficking Hotline hours are 24/7. Their languages are English and Spanish, and she has given us the number right there, so you can go ahead and write that number down. Now, listen, this is just in case, so you will have it. You won't have to worry about looking it up. Of course, if you can't do anything or look at it, it's an emergency. We always call 911.
Yes. And don't wait until 2 days later. I hate when I get calls. Oh, I was at the Walgreens the other day. Why didn't you call? And I saw this lady with this, like, come on. I need, come on. I need you all to respond the way you would want somebody to respond if it was your child. Yeah.
But you know what, Jamar, our life, the way we live it in our world is so different right now. When we were growing up, we were always outside. It was always somebody, mama, grandma, granddaddy, sitting on the porch who knew everything that was going on in the community. So you had those people that you couldn't just do anything you wanted because somebody was going to be watching you. But now we have gotten to the place where, let me mind my business. That's not my business. Let me just keep, let me stay out of it. And then sometimes it takes some time for it to marinate and be like, you need to do something, you need to do something, you need to do something. And then finally, not saying that's the case for the situation that you're talking about, but I can see and understand how that could happen. Like just the other day, I was just in social media when the man was assaulting the woman, right? If you saw the video, there were men there that did absolutely nothing to de-escalate this situation where this man was going back and forth with this female and getting irate. You can see he had his fist ball, but everybody had this mentality. Let me mind my business. Let me stay in my lane. This has nothing to do with me. And we don't have that sense of community anymore.
I don't think for me it's a total disconnect from humanity. And I don't accept that. It's a total, nobody cares about the elephant in the room until the elephant starts stepping on you and your children and your loved ones.
Right.
So when the elephant starts stepping on you and your children and your loved ones, you want somebody to sound the alarm. But you will allow an elephant to roam around in a room that they have no business being in, and you won't open your mouth and say nothing. But God forbid that elephant steps on something that belongs to you, steps on somebody that you care about. So I don't accept that. I don't accept that. That doesn't sit well with me, because being disconnected from humanity makes me feel like anything in this world and anybody can do anything they want to me and nobody's going to care.
Yeah.
That is not okay. And especially not okay for any human, but especially when we're talking about children. That is not okay. So it doesn't, we're not, people have to, no, I absolutely don't buy it. I have no understanding for that whatsoever, because I have had parents tell me to my face that they never thought it would happen to their child. They never thought it would hit their house, right? But when it did, they want to pull out all the stops. They want to pull out all the stops, and rightfully so, because it's your child,
right?
But guess what? The next parent, they felt that way about their child too. You don't love your child no more than the next parent does. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So the fact that people have to process, no, you ain't got to process when you're in a store and you see this old creepy dude with this young girl. You understand what I'm saying? And she's trying to make eye contact with you, but because you don't want to get involved, you avoid eye contact.
Right, right.
No, I have no understanding. I have
Yeah,
no understanding for that, because it's not just what belongs to you should be sacred. All
right,
human life should be sacred. Because regardless of how people are living their lives, what they doing with their lives, who they loving, who they not loving, what I would hope that we can agree that everybody is entitled to freedom, life, and safety,
hmm,
regardless of how you feel. Freedom, life, and safety. And I would hope that you would want that for my child and every
right,
other child, and not just yours,
right,
and not just yours. But we are living now in, which is, we're in the last days where men are lovers of themselves. You know what I'm saying? And
correct,
there's absolutely no connection. There's no human connection. Like you
right,
said, for men who were created to protect, to stand in that store and watch that man hit that woman like he was in a boxing ring with another dude and walk away.
right, right,
That has nothing to do with process. That is a total disregard for humanity. But you got a
yeah,
lot of people that are walking in their own trauma and walking out their own trauma,
right,
and that's the hard part, because, and especially in our community, we don't deal with our trauma because we don't understand that you can have Jesus and therapy at the same time. I don't know why we don't get that. I don't know why we don't understand that, which is why we walking around here so jacked up. You know what
right,
I'm saying? And not caring about what happens to one another because we feel
right,
like nobody cared about what happened to us and we survived. But if you are okay with somebody being hurt, harmed, tortured, or killed, and you don't find a problem with that, then you are not okay.
right.
You are not okay. You're not okay, and that's not okay.
Yeah. You have given us so much information and awareness of human trafficking. I appreciate you for all the knowledge that you have, for the work that you're doing in the community, and the stand that you have, the voice uh, to be bold um, and have that holy boldness, okay, to know that I am put here for a purpose and I have to do the work that I have been called to do. So it is evident that this is your calling. This is what I see is embedded down on the inside of you, not just for yourself, but to help the community. And I believe that's what we're all supposed to do. Find your niche, find the thing that is purpose for you, and then go at it 100%. So I appreciate you. Listen, I cannot go and leave without you telling us about the books that you have published, how we can get in touch with you, if we want to use you to come speak to people. But you may not know, girl, I might fly you in and come give you a platform to come on to
Hey,
Texas. And it might be somebody out there
look at
who
God.
has a platform and have been looking for someone to give this information to. What can we do? How can we get in touch with you? What's going on?
So you can get in touch with me through my social media outlets. Tara Portier on Facebook, She Me Her Inc. on IG, Jamara E on Twitter. Please feel free to visit my website at shemeher.org. You can inbox me. My books are sold on Amazon, online at Amazon and Barnes and Noble. But if you would like an autographed copy of my book, just reach out to me, hit me up, and I can send you an autographed copy of Sister to Sister for $20. I also have these journals that I can bless you with. These journals are $15. And I actually created this journal because of I believe in writing the vision and make it plain. And I think that and we are such an amazing, creative, and innovative people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the graveyard is the richest place in the world because there's so many dreams that have died, and they're just sitting in the graveyard. And what happens is that, you know, for whatever reason, we don't have a habit of writing things down. We don't have an
Right.
habit of writing things down. So I always carry a pad with me. I carry a pad with me everywhere I go, because I could be having a conversation. I could be having just a moment of thought in my car, and I need to jot down what I'm thinking, because, you know, God is giving it to me for a reason, and I
Right.
do not want to forget. So I have my little journals here, my she, me, her journals. It has she, me, her. She could be me. I could be her. My website is on there. And then on the back, the picture says that, you know, I am smart enough, successful enough, talented enough, pretty enough, beautiful enough. And in the inside, I have here, you know, always speak the truth, even if your voice shakes.
Mm.
Always
Yes.
speak the truth. Always speak the truth, even if your voice shakes. So I have these on sale for $15 as well. So you guys hit me up if you want the merch. I got my mugs. So yeah, hit your
Hey,
girl
that's what
up.
I don't have. I don't have a coffee. Girl, you know how much I drink and love coffee. I need me a
Okay,
coffee
I
cup.
gotta get you a mug. I gotta get you a
Yeah.
she, me, her
Yeah.
mug. So you can get your
Yeah.
coffee.
Because,
It's
I
coming.
was trying to like, give me all the stuff. I have my book. I have my journal. I need that coffee mug, girl. 'Cause
I'm gonna get it to you. I'm gonna get it to you.
I
Sis.
get mine in. And
Absolutely. I'm gonna get it to you. I'm gonna get it to you. But yeah,
so
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
mhm.
I really appreciate you, Tisha.
Listen, Jamar, you have dropped so much on us tonight. Thought-provoking information that we can pull out, and then not just sit on it, but we have some things we can go and tell some people.
Yeah.
This gonna be a domino. I believe this gonna be a domino effect. So we're not just gonna hold this information within, but we're gonna start telling some people, hey, what you know about human trafficking? You know what sex trafficking is? You know what's going on in your county? You know what's going on in your city? Are you really the eyes of your neighborhood and your community? Do you know what to look for? When your kids are playing these games, are you listening? Are you going in and watching their chat? Are you monitoring what they're doing? Do you know your friends, your kids' friends, where they live, what's their mama name, what's the address, just to get us involved. Not only, sometimes we're not even involved in what's going on in our own home, which why we can't get involved in what's going on the outside. But you have provoked us. You have given us some things to think about and act on. And that's the true meaning of what you said at the beginning of being a servant. Right? You have, baby, you served tonight. You served tonight. And I appreciate you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So for those of you that have some more comments and concerns, you all can reach out to her. She, as you know, she has a plethora of knowledge and information. If you want to get something started in your neighborhood, she can help with that. She's a woman of many hats. She's wearing them, and she wear it well. Okay. This is my friend of 30 plus. Girl, do you know we have been hanging out for more than 30 years?
Look at God. Look at God.
Man, and how far he brought us.
Look at God.
He knew that there was purpose on the inside of us.
That's right.
And he kept us for a reason. So
he kept us.
Yeah, and we dare not take advantage of that and not do what thus said the Lord, because he could have took us long time ago. I thank you for your testimonies. We didn't really get into a whole lot of what you've been through in regards to it, but it was the information that needed to go forth on tonight, and I appreciate you for that. So you all, thank you so much for hanging out with me on tonight for First Mondays. Listen, we talked about being overlooked, what's being overlooked, and we will not overlook it anymore. No, ma'am. We won't overlook it. So thank you all for coming. I will see you all next First Monday. Well, the letter would be P. I got some percolating. I got some percolating. I
can't wait. I can't wait for you to pour it. Once it's finished percolating, I can't wait for you to pour it.
Yes. So thank you so much. And you all have a wonderful month of July. Be safe on tomorrow as you celebrate.
Yes.
Keep a lookout for what's going on so you won't overlook anything. All right. I love you all. And I'll see you all on next First Monday. And we out. Thank you. Thank you
so much. Have a good evening, everybody.
Bye,
Thank
Jay.
you.
Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out. You've experienced life, love, lost.